Hey guys, in this lesson we will talk about heart sounds and ECG from the topic human circulatory system. This is presented by me, Yogita Khandelwal. Heart sounds. So we have two heart sounds, first and second. So this is a comparison between two. So first heart sound is produced because of closure of AV valves, that is atrioventricular valves, and second heart sound is produced by closure of semilunar valves. First heart sound marks onset of ventricular systole. So first what happens, atria contracts, rapid filling of blood occurs, and then the AV valves close, after which there is ventricular contraction. So first heart sound marks the onset of ventricular systole. Similarly, second heart sound marks onset of ventricular diastole, that it marks relaxation and it marks contraction. It is low pitch and frequency. It is high pitch and frequency. There is loud sound and it is of longer duration. It is sharp sound and it is of shorter duration. So from you can remember it from S of second, sharp and shorter, and it is lub. So from L of lub, it is low pitch, low frequency, loud sound and longer. So everything is L. And it spells lub, and it spells as dup. So from L we have low pitch, low frequency, loud sound, longer and lub, and from S second heart sound, sharp and shorter. Heart sounds are of clinical diagnostic significance. So if there is any heart defect, so by listening to these heart sounds we can diagnose those heart defects. Now there are third and fourth heart sound also. Third heart sound, it is due to vibrations of the cardiac valves produced by the rapid filling phase of ventricular diastole. It is low pitched and has low intensity. So when there is rapid filling phase of ventricular diastole, that is opening of AV valves occur and there is rapid filling of the blood in ventricles, then there's vibrations of cardiac valves, that is the third heart sound. Then fourth heart sound, it is due to atrial systole characterized by low frequency and low amplitude. So atrial contraction marks the fourth heart sound, and third and fourth heart sound are less important and normally inaudible. So these two heart sounds are inaudible, while first two heart sounds are of clinical diagnostic significance. Frank-starling law. Heart pumps all the blood which comes to it without allowing excessive damming of blood in great vein. That means there's blood, heart, we have blood in heart that comes from veins. So the blood coming from veins, heart pumps all the blood that comes from veins so that there is no damming of blood in the veins. Or in other words, we can say that more the stretching in heart walls, stronger will be the pumping action. Next we have cardiac index. Blood pumped by each ventricle per minute per square meter of body surface area. So blood pumped by each ventricle per minute is cardiac output. So cardiac output per square meter of body surface area is cardiac index. So cardiac index is cardiac output per body surface area. So it is 5 divided by 1.6, that is 3.1 liter per minute per meter square. Cardiac reserve. Maximum cardiac output minus resting cardiac output gives us cardiac reserve. Now cardiac reserve of an athlete is 4 to 5 times higher than the cardiac reserve of non-athlete. So one who exercises daily is an athlete, its cardiac reserve is 4 to 5 times higher. In athlete, because of exercise, cardiac hypertrophy occurs, which increases stroke volume. Now what happens in athletes? They do exercise regularly, so that's why cardiac hypertrophy occurs and the stroke volume increases, that is blood pump by each ventricle per cardiac cycle. So maximum cardiac output of an athlete is much higher than that of non-athlete. So because of increase of stroke volume, cardiac output, that is maximum cardiac output, increases. Now, resting cardiac output is similar in both as heart rate of an athlete is slower and stroke volume is higher than that of non-athlete. Now, resting cardiac output is similar of athlete and non-athlete because heart rate of athlete is slower, and so heart rate of non-athlete is greater, and stroke volume of athlete is higher and heart rate of non-athlete is higher, so it compensates, and this resting cardiac output is similar. No, resting cardiac output is similar and maximum cardiac output is much higher, so that's why cardiac reserve of an athlete is 4 to 5 times higher than the cardiac reserve of non-athlete. Now next we have electrocardiogram, ECG. We commonly say it at ECG. So ECG is a graphical representation of the electrical activity of the heart during a cardiac cycle. So we represent electrical activity of the heart graphically, that is by waves, that is known as ECG. Now electrocardiograph is a machine used to obtain electrocardiogram. So graph is a machine and we obtain gram from it. For a standard ECG, a patient is connected to the machine with 3 electrical leads, one to each wrist and to the left ankle, that continuously monitor the heart activity. So for obtaining ECG, we have 3 electrical leads, one to each wrist, that is left wrist and right wrist, and one on left ankle. Now see, this is ECG. So this is P wave. This is QRS complex and this is T wave. So P wave marks the atrial depolarization. So after P wave we have atrial systole. QRS complex marks ventricular depolarization. Then after we have ventricular systole. And T wave marks repolarization of ventricles, and that's why we have after it ventricular diastole. Now PQRST complex, it represents one cardiac cycle. Now P wave represents depolarization of atria, which leads to contraction of both the atria. QRS complex represents depolarization of ventricles, which initiates contraction of ventricles. Ventricular systole starts just after the Q wave. Now we have QRS complex representing depolarization, but ventricular systole starts just after the Q wave. T wave represents repolarization of ventricles, and ventricular diastole starts after the T wave. Now count of QRS complex gives the heart rate of an individual. Whenever you will see the ECG, simply counting QRS complex, we can determine the heart rate. PR interval. So time taken by the impulse to travel through SA node, AV node and the rest of the conducting tissues normally lasts for 0.6 seconds. So time taken from SA node to travel impulse to all of the conducting tissues, it is represented by PR interval. Then we have ST segment, time between the end of the spread of impulse through ventricles and its repolarization. So after depolarization, we have repolarization, so that the depolarization can take place. So it is ST segment, and ECG is of great clinical significance. Now this we have PR interval represented here, and here we have ST segment. There are other intervals and segments, like this is QT interval and this is PR segment. So that's all. Thanks for watching.